Hello and welcome back to the Jerusalem Post. I'm Tamar Uriel-Beeri, and today I'm joined by Nivedha Mohan Raj, a student originally from India who is in her second year of studies in her master's, part of the direct master's PhD track at the Sagol School of Neuroscience as part of Tel Aviv University's Lowy International School. The program trains students in the latest cutting-edge neuroscience fields related to biology, psychology, engineering, the list goes on. Nivedha, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Nivedha, tell me a bit about your work in neuroscience prior to arriving in Israel.
So before I joined the program here in Tau, I was working as a research fellow at this lab with Dr. 𝗙𝗵𝗱𝗀𝗀. So it's an institute in Bangalore. It's called National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. So we were working on a few systems with mice over there. So we had a model system for diabetes. So we were trying to look at what happens at late stages of diabetes. You have development of these eye-related complications, which eventually leads to blindness. So we were trying to understand if it's possible to detect these symptoms, which usually arise very late into the progression of the disease. By that time, it generally leads to blindness in patients with diabetes. So we were trying to see if there are these signatures which we could identify at an earlier stage, so that we could come up with non-invasive techniques to identify these symptoms beforehand.
Wow. And what made you want to come to Tel Aviv after such intense research?
So I was looking for PhD opportunities as soon as I started with I finished my graduation, and then I wanted to get a feel of what it's like to work in a lab. I was mostly doing research before I came here. So I was looking for PhD options while I was there, and I had already applied to a few places abroad, and there were a couple of labs which I liked here in Israel as well. So that's how I spoke to Professor 𝗙𝗵𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀. She is my PI, so it was suggested by a friend who already works here in the faculty. So yeah, I spoke to her and she was interested, and we had a few calls back and forth. And she's the one who suggested I join the international MSc program at Sagol, and then yeah, now
So
I'm
tell me a bit
working.
about the research you're doing right now under her
Uh,
wing.
yeah, so our lab is interested in how the differentiation programming in cells works, like how you go from the embryonic state to a fully developed organ. So for this purpose, we use the eye as a model system. So again, we work with mice. So our interest in understanding what are the gene networks that control the development of the different structures that eventually lead to the organogenesis of the eye. So this is what we are looking at, and we have a few candidate target genes that the lab has previously been working on. So I am working on a protein called LDB, which is a highly conserved protein from fly, like from a primitive organism to humans. So that's the protein that I'm working on. So I'm trying to understand what happens when there is loss of this particular gene in the eye, and what are the differences that we'll see as a result.
Did you have any deliberations about what path to take under, the broad network that is neuroscience?
So I think, like I said before, I got into any of the labs that I'm currently, into neuroscience and stuff. But before, I was actually working in plant biology as an intern for a few years, and then that's when I got to learning a lot more about neuroscience, and I was trying to find labs where I could work on these things, and that's how I got into the project in 𝗙𝗻𝗻𝗄 that I mentioned previously, and I got introduced to the retina system over there. Like that's the structure in the eye which helps in formation of the vision eventually. So yeah, I think moving forward from there, it just seemed like the right way to go. Yeah.
The natural progression of things.
Yes, exactly.
So what direction do you plan on taking once you've completed your PhD? Are you sticking with the eye or expanding to other parts of the body?
So I think just like everybody else, the more you read, the more you get curious about things. And then, at one point I want to do something, but then as I keep attending classes, which are also very exciting here at Sagol, so it keeps giving me new ideas. So as of now, just finished the PhD, and then hopefully by the end of my fourth year or something, I'll have an idea of where I want to continue doing my postdoctoral fellowship. So
Do you have
keeping
any
it open.
advice for those wishing to join the program?
Uh,
What they should do, how they should think?
I think it's a great program, but personally, I feel it helps if you contact the PI beforehand, because it gives you an idea of where you want to work and what you want to do. And I think I can say this with confidence that most of the PIs at Sagol and also at the university are very friendly, and they're open to discussion. They are very receptive of your ideas, so it helps a lot to have a PI in mind beforehand, so they help you through the process. That's the same thing that happened with Ruti for me. I mean, she was great, and she helped me a lot to get through the process. So yeah, I think once you're here, it just pretty amazing. Like the campus, the environment, the faculty, the teachers, the lecturers. So yeah, I think that's mostly it.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nivedha, and thank you for taking part in the amazing system of Israel's neuroscience sphere.
Thank you for interviewing me.